SASE and SSE are principal ways companies will deploy security tools in the future. But most clients I speak with are struggling on how to get their SASE and SSE strategies off the ground. Let's talk about some real world steps that organizations can take to implement SASE or SSE frameworks. Hi, I'm Steve Murphy. I'm a vice president at ARG, and while I work for ARG, this video is my own and does not reflect the views or opinions of my employer. This channel is dedicated to helping technology leaders make great business decisions. And before I jump into the content in this video, I want to make a quick comment about my employer, ARG. I talk a lot about cybersecurity in this channel, and it is my channel and not sponsored by my company. But because I do so many cybersecurity videos, I don't want to leave the impression that we're all just cybersecurity consultants. We consult around several major technology categories such as unified communications, cloud computing, managed service providers, mobility and wireless, network services, contact center, and customer experience solutions. Our consulting is free, so if you ever have an initiative around any of those categories, feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the description of this video. As we are entering these uncertain economic times, we can help reduce costs across these solutions. And I just wanted to reinforce that we do much more than cybersecurity. So thanks very much for letting me indulge in that tangent. Now, how to get into your SASE or SSE initiatives. Just a quick overview of SASE, which stands for Secure Access Service Edge, and SSE, standing for Secure Service Edge. And I have lots of videos on this channel that go into more depth. So feel free to browse there if you're looking for more detailed description. But in general, SASE is all about enabling cloud-first workforce and cloud-based workflows. Security services are housed in the cloud where you can get all the resources you need, and we want to bypass those centralized security hubs or stacks traditionally found in your data center. This allows users to access the cloud resources directly, but safely. SASE is an all-encompassing framework that includes on-site access and security solutions. SSE is a subset of SASE, including just the cloud-based security solutions. SASE recognizes that a physical site access and optimization is still a very important component of corporate networks. SSE takes the approach that the perimeter is gone and that all endpoints and appliances are in the wild and should be treated as such, regardless of their physical location. SSE is more forward-looking and also less mature. Research is telling us, however, that about 1/3 of the mid to larger enterprises are well along their SASE SSE journeys. They're taking definitive steps to deploying new tooling that is cloud-enabling their organization and de-emphasizing the data center. Another third wants to implement SASE or SSE, but has not yet started. And the rest are good with what they have or just beginning to consider SASE. If you're in either of these last two categories, you may be stuck deciding how to get started. Let's take a shot at coming up with some steps to help you get started. The first thing you want to do, other than contacting me, of course, is to take stock in what you have, from a security standpoint primarily. I know that most people will say, take an inventory of everything. You can't protect what you don't know. And that's valid, but I want this to be an action-oriented plan. Taking an inventory of everything, if you don't have a good inventory at the moment, will stop most people in their tracks. Let's start with an inventory of your security tools. What do you have? How much does it cost? And when are those tools up for replacement or a license renewal? This inventory will be your guide to when various aspects of SASE can be deployed. But you're not necessarily limited to these depreciation schedules and licensing renewal dates. So don't see these dates as a barrier to your strategy, rather they're guide points. For example, you may have dual firewalls in your redundant data centers today. If you have more compelling reason to move to a network-based firewall solution, instead of writing the physical firewalls off and creating an accounting and a potentially budget issue, consider retaining those firewalls through the rest of their useful life, but in a narrower capacity. You could use your legacy firewalls for data center to data center connectivity, for example, reducing the need to pay for that throughput if you were to use a network-based firewall that you would implement in a SASE type of solution. So get creative to find limited use cases to continue to derive the remaining economic value from your current investments. That's perfectly fine. Step two is to start breaking down the walls between your network and your security groups. As you'll see going forward, there will be a blending of skill sets and solution sets. We need the teams starting to think about holistic approaches, not just what I need to accomplish my narrow set of goals. If you're a smaller company, maybe there's no real divide to speak of between the two organizations. But most companies of some size have a separate security and network operations team. We're not talking about formal combination of these teams, but if the teams operate in a silo today, they could probably use some bonding. Creating a joint team or task force to review initiatives and assess impacts is a great way to start. We want to deconstruct any barriers that might have developed over time. One of the team's first potential projects might be step three, which is to assess how to provide direct access to SaaS applications from any location or network connection. That will get us started with our SD-WAN conversations as well as secure remote access. A unified platform that can support both on-network and remote users is best to establish consistent rules and governance. Treating all users the same, but striving to give them direct access to the resources they need is a win all the way around. And just to clarify, my use of the term direct access may be a little imprecise. What I mean is avoidance of going through the centralized security stack just to access the internet and route to the SaaS application. Even with SASE, we may have proxies and gateways that will create a less than direct route to the SaaS platform, but it will be a lot more direct. These more direct sessions will be conducted over the best available internet connection, avoiding private networks and hubbing back to the VPN concentrator. Moving on. Step 4 is to consider moving to Zero Trust Network Access Solutions, or ZTNA. Again, I have more videos on ZTNA on my channel, but quickly, the case for ZTNA is that traditional VPN solutions provide broad access to the network edge and, once authenticated, to the internal network as well. The case for ZTNA is that you want to authenticate on a proxy well removed from your perimeter and then provide only limited need-to-know access to users. I've made a point in my other videos that you could, with the basic tool sets available in most modern networks, establish your own ZTNA environment. This is very possible, but it's also very taxing, very time-consuming, very difficult to design, deploy, and maintain. Our suggestion is to consider ZTNA as a service and purchase a purpose-built solution. Yes, this is an additional cost, but it will be partially offset by your VPN savings in the future, and in the farther future, potentially your firewall costs. Many ZTNA advocates say it's a replacement for external and internal firewalls. I say walk before you run. Conceptually, I agree you could replace your firewalls with ZTNA, but in practice, you need to conduct significant work to even consider this as a possibility. ZTNA sets you up to start experiencing the primary benefits of SASE, and you may be able to decommission other point solutions to add to the economic case. Then we look at what you can save administratively when those solutions are taken out and a single management platform is inserted. Consistency in application and governance should drive hard dollar cost savings and soft dollar cost savings as well. The soft dollar cost savings might be the ability to lower the requirements and experience of the admins supporting the ZTNA platform, for example. That might be $50,000 savings right there, not to mention all the point solutions that ZTNA could potentially replace. The last step is to breathe. I know this all sounds daunting, but help is available. A managed service provider can go a long way towards assisting your establishment of your SASE or SSE services, while your team learns by looking over the provider's shoulder. Also, if your organization is intensely trying to manage earnings before interest, taxes, and depreciation, and amortization, by the way, abbreviated as EBITDA, then much of this setup services costs can be typically capitalized and amortized over several years. I don't want to say this is a free budget, but I have seen EBITDA-friendly programs get approved where a similar program that was focused entirely as an operating expense was denied, Same outcome, just different account principles and cash flow considerations allowed us to get a project underway for a customer where we had significant upfront costs that could be amortized, could be capitalized. So there you have it. 5 steps you can take in the near term to get your SASE or SSE project off the ground. I'm not saying this will be easy, but these seem like manageable steps that can be taken by anyone who feels that SASE and SSE can benefit their organization. If you want to discuss this or any other topics on this channel, please feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the description of this video. And if you got some value out of this video, I'd appreciate a like. Thank you very much for doing that in advance. And if you want to find your way back to this channel in the future, the best way of doing that is to hit that subscribe button. It will put my videos in your feed and you can come back here whenever it's convenient for you. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.